My name is Miss McAtee. Today we're going to learn about osmosis. Let's start off talking about cells for a moment. To perform their functions, cells must keep an internal, steady state, even when the environment outside of the cell is changing. This steady state is called homeostasis. Homeostasis is maintained in part by controlling the movement of materials into and out of the cell. To achieve this control, cells are surrounded by a membrane that can tell different substances apart and can slow down or stop the movement of some substances while allowing others to pass through freely. Because not all substances can go through the cell membrane equally well, the membrane is said to be selectively permeable. Selectively permeable membranes are those that have openings called pores and can let water, oxygen, carbon dioxide, and certain other smaller molecules to go through the membrane. Osmosis is the diffusion of water across a selective permeable membrane. This means that water can go through the membranes from areas where there are a lot of water molecules to areas where there are not so many water molecules. Birds' eggs that are unfertilized, like the ones you eat for breakfast, are single cells. With these eggs, we can easily look at osmosis, which happens on a cellular level and is usually very hard to see. A few days ago, I placed normal uncooked eggs into a beaker of vinegar. Vinegar is also known as acetic acid. What happened was that the acid ate away at the calcium carbonate in the shell of the egg. Calcium carbonate is the same stuff that's in classroom chalk. So now we can see what's going on the inside of the cell. What I have as a result is this naked egg that no longer has a shell but just has the membrane around it. For today's experiment, I'm going to place these naked eggs into plain tap water and corn syrup and let them soak overnight. Corn syrup is full of lots of sugar and very little water. So using what you know about osmosis, make a prediction about what the eggs will look like after a day of sitting in the corn syrup or the water. Now that you've taken a minute to make a prediction about what would happen, let's take a look at the eggs after they've been sitting in the corn syrup and the water overnight. Remember that this is what we started with. Okay, here is the egg that sat in corn syrup. And I'll take it out of there so you can see what it looks like. What do you observe happened to the egg after it sat in the corn syrup overnight? It has definitely become shriveled and smaller than the original egg. Okay, moving on. Here's the egg that spent the night in water. Write down what you observe. The egg that was in water has definitely bloated and gotten much bigger than it started out as. Were your predictions correct? Now, make sure you explain why your predictions were or were not correct and what happened with the two eggs. Now that you've taken a minute to make a prediction, let's look at what happened to the eggs after they sat in the water and the corn syrup overnight. Remember, this is what we started with.